You think you've seen it all? Think again. These Reddit crime stories are so wild, so unbelievable, you'll question everything you thought you knew. From shocking betrayals to close calls with danger, we're diving into the internet's most jaw-dropping tales. Get ready, because these are the stories Reddit doesn't want you to forget. In this town, the punishments are worse than the crime part 2. By the time dinner rolls around, my excitement has fully kicked in. The nerves are gone. No more worrying about Charlie or whether I'll get caught. I can't wait to tell my parents about what happened today. It feels like the kind of thing they'll be proud of. So, Dad says, spearing a piece of steak with his fork, what did we learn in school today? I grin, finally letting it out. Charlie came to our classroom. Did he now? Dad raises an eyebrow, setting his fork down and wiping his mouth. Did you look at him? Talk to him? Nope, I say proudly, puffing out my chest. He tried real hard to trick me too. He came right up to my desk, but I didn't say a word. Good job, buddy, Dad says, giving me a high five. He smiles, but it's a tired kind of smile. Proud of you. I slap his hand, going for more macaroni. I chew for a second, then I remember. Oh, but Alice sneezed and said thank you. He got her. No one says anything for a moment. Nothing but chewing and the sound of forks and knives scraping plates. Mom takes a sip of water and then places her glass back on the wooden table before speaking. That poor girl? Didn't her parents teach her anything? Mom sighs, shaking her head as she cuts into her food. They probably coddled her too much. Dad nods. She should have known better. Mom sighs again, then smiles at me. It's unfortunate, but the rules are the rules for a reason. You did good today, sweetie. I nod along, feeling more certain now. Alice deserved it. She should have known better. She broke the rules. I imagine Alice won't be herself anymore. I've never met anyone who's gotten caught by Charlie and lived. They usually never come back to school. I doubt they even leave their homes. But I picture she'll be the way he left her forever. She'll be like the dolls my sister used to have. The super creepy ones where the eyes were supposed to blink, but sometimes one got stuck. So it just stared at you, even when you shook it around and tried to force it closed with your fingers. Speaking of, Dad leans back in his chair. Did they ever find that girl's body? The one who broke Rule 2? No. Mom passes the salad, which I avoid. But it's no surprise. Hopefully the next one's smarter. Nothing interesting happened to you? I ask Jamie, my sister, who's been extra quiet today. She just shrugs, pushing around her food. We saw something strange today, too. Dad begins, pulling Mom into a story about flickering streetlights and his annoying boss. But dinner feels strange. Not just because of Charlie days are always weird, but because of Jamie. She's barely said a word the whole meal, which is so unlike her. Normally she'd be cracking wise about Dad's jokes, even though she swears they're bad, but I think they're hilarious. Or she'd make fun of me for putting ketchup on everything. She should be flicking peas at me and acting like she knows everything about everything. But tonight, she's barely touched her food, just staring at it like she's forgotten what a fork is for. Her lips are pressed tight, eyes fixed on her plate as if she's trying to remember the last time she was hungry, or when food seemingly stopped being something she cared about. Mom doesn't notice, or if she does, she doesn't say anything. Dad doesn't either. They keep talking about their day, about some boring teacher meeting, the men in white stopping by, the talking trees, random town stuff. Maybe they think it's just a bad mood. Jamie's been like that lately. Distant, kind of moody. I thought it was because she's a teenager, and that's just how teenagers are supposed to act. But tonight feels different. Dad goes on about some strange noise outside the garage, then rambles about the streetlights flickering in a pattern he swears is unusual. I'm not really listening, though. I can't take my eyes off Jamie. She's still staring at her plate, not a word leaving her lips. She won't look at me, won't look at anyone. Her face is pale, eyes puffy the same way mine get when I cry. But Jamie never cries. Dinner is quiet, even though we're all talking. The clatter of forks against plates fills the gaps where real conversation should be. but my eyes keep darting back to Jamie. I can't shake the feeling that she knows something I don't. Like she's holding a secret just under the surface, waiting to crack it open. Then, suddenly, the scrape of chair legs grates against the floor, sharp enough to make me jump. Jamie pushes her chair back with a force that makes everyone at the table flinch. She stands up abruptly. "May I be excused?" she asks, her voice tight. A pause follows, thick and uncomfortable. Mom and Dad blink at her, confusion flickering between them like they're trying to solve a puzzle without all the pieces. "Of course you can. Just make sure to clear your plate before you go," Mom finally manages, her voice softer now, almost apologetic. Jamie nods stiffly and turns away, leaving the room without another word. I track her movement, the hollow thud of her footsteps fading down the hall. The conversation awkwardly picks back up, but I'm still staring at her empty chair, wondering what I missed. I didn't know what would happen next. How could I? But I wish I had. I wish I could have done it all differently. After dinner, I head upstairs, my feet dragging as I go. I'm in the bathroom, brushing my teeth when I hear something. A voice? Muffled, but Jamie's. She's on the phone. Her voice is quiet, but not quiet enough to keep me from hearing. Not when the house is still this. I spit out the toothpaste, my ears straining to catch what she's saying. It's faint through the wall, but I can hear it, and there's something in her voice that sends a chill down my spine. She sounds scared. I press my ear against the wall, the one connected to her room, my heart pounding in my chest. I can barely make out the words. "I don't know what to do," Jamie whispers, her voice cracking. I didn't mean to. I thought it would be okay if no one found out." My hands are shaking now. What is she talking about? I crack the bathroom door open and walk into the hallway, coming to a halt right outside her bedroom door. I hear a soft sniffle. It's not like her to cry, not unless something really bad happened. Maybe she got in trouble, or Mom and Dad yelled at her after dinner for not finishing her homework. I pad across the hall, careful not to make the floor creak under my feet as I creep closer. Her door's open, just enough to see the edge of her desk and her shadow moving behind it. "I didn't tell anyone," she says, her voice trembling. "I swear I didn't tell anyone. I don't want them to know, okay?" She pauses, listening to whoever's on the other end of the phone. I know I messed up, but if they were going to punish me, it would have happened by now. I mean, they would have done something by now. Maybe it won't happen. Maybe if I just don't say anything." I push the door open just a little more, holding my breath. I can hear her crying softly now, the way someone cries when they don't want anyone else to hear them. Something in my chest tightens. Jamie's tough. Way tougher than me. Jamie never cries. I knock on the door, peeking my head in. "Jamie?" She jumps, turning to face me, her eyes wide. Her face is streaked with tears, her hands trembling as she holds her phone to her ear. I'll call you back," she says quietly into the phone, and then she hangs up, wiping her eyes with the back of her hand. For a second, she looks like a deer caught in headlights, but then her expression softens into something sad. Tired, like the way Dad smiled at dinner. "Robbie, what are you doing?" "Can I come in?" There's a long pause, and I almost think she's going to say no, but then she whispers, "Yeah." I shuffle in, feeling awkward. "I heard you talking. Who were you talking to?" She shakes her head quickly, forcing a weak smile. "No one. Just a friend. It's nothing." I don't believe her. I can see it in her eyes. She's lying. I step further into her room. The lights are low, casting long shadows on the walls. She's sitting on the edge of her bed, her phone clutched in her hands, her eyes red-rimmed and wet. She looks up at me, and for a moment she doesn't say anything. Then she whispers, "Don't tell Mom and Dad." "What happened?" I ask, my hands cold with fear. I feel like I already know. Her lip quivers and she shakes her head. I broke a rule." My heart stops. The room feels like it's spinning for a second. My legs feel weak, like they're made of jelly, like how I felt in class, but if the boat hit a hurricane. And for a second, I don't know what to say. The rules are the rules for a reason. Everyone knows that. She knows that. I feel like my chest is tightening, like I can't get a full breath. Which one? I manage to get out, my voice barely more than a croak. She gets up from her bed and comes over to me, kneeling down so we're eye to eye. It's fine. It'll be fine. I swallow hard. Which rule, I ask again, because we both know it's not fine. Nothing is ever fine when it comes to the rules. She looks away, wringing her hands together. It was Rule 4, she whispers, her voice barely audible. I went outside after dark by myself, but I didn't go far, just to get my charger from the car. My blood turns to ice. I can't move. I can barely even think. My stomach churns. Why would you do that? It wasn't supposed to be a big deal. I thought I could sneak back in before anything happened. She trails off, wiping her nose with her sleeve. But nothing happened, Robbie. Nothing yet. If we act like it didn't happen, maybe it'll be okay. It won't be okay, we both know that, but she says it like she's trying to convince herself. She's always been the brave one, the one who rolls her eyes at the rules even though she follows them. She's never been scared of anything, until now. You really think it'll be okay? I ask, my voice shaky, even though I know the answer. Yeah, it'll be fine. If something was going to happen, it already would have, right? She's trying to reassure me, but I can see the fear behind her eyes. It's reflected in mine. The way her fingers won't stop trembling, even though she's clutching them together. I swallow hard. Yeah, I whisper. It'll be okay. I don't believe it. Not really, but I don't want her to feel worse. We stood there in the quiet for a long moment, the weight of what she just told me sinking in. Jamie rubs her hands together like she's trying to shake off a chill that won't go away. I want to say something, anything that will make this better, but the words stick in my throat. She pulls me into a hug, holding me tight, and I can feel her trembling, and for the first time in my life I feel like she's the one who needs protection. Jamie, who's always so strong, so tough, is shaking. Don't tell Mom and Dad, she whispers again, this time into my hair. Please, I don't want them to know. It'll just make everything worse. I'll be fine. I love you. Don't worry, okay? I'll be fine. I hug her back, clinging to her like I'm trying to keep her here, in this room, safe with me. I love you too. But deep down, I know. I should have told someone. She should have told someone. An adult, Mom or Dad, anyone. They could have done something. Maybe they still can. But I don't. I just nod, pretending like it'll be okay, like she's right. Promise me you won't say anything, she says again, squeezing my shoulders tight. Please. I won't, I swear. But I feel sick, because I've never seen what happens when someone breaks Rule 4. Nobody talks about it. Just like nobody talks about what happened to the girl who broke Rule 2, the one whose body they never found. But I've heard the rumors. Kids whisper about shadows that slip through cracks in the walls, about the way the sky seems to close in on itself when the rule is broken. They say you hear things, scratching, voices, whispers from something that isn't quite human. But none of that seems real when you're sitting at the dinner table, eating macaroni and listening to your dad talk about work. I glance back at Jamie, her face pale and drawn, like she knows something terrible is waiting. She's always been the brave one. If she's scared, then maybe the rumors are true. What's going to happen to you? I ask, my voice barely a whisper. She shakes her head. I don't know, she says, but the way she pauses tells me she has a better idea than I do. I love you, I repeat, my heart pounding in my chest. I don't know what else to say. I'm terrified, but I don't want her to know that. I don't want her to be more scared than she already is. I feel her chest rise and fall, and for a second, it's like we're just regular kids again. Like everything's normal, and she didn't do the worst thing ever. I love you, Robbie, she whispers again, her voice tight, like she's choking back more tears. No matter what. So what now? I say, my voice muffled against her sweater instead of saying, I love her a third time? It feels too close to a goodbye. I squeeze her tighter, trying to hold on to the moment, like, if I just hold on long enough, it'll all go away. Like she didn't break the rule. Like she's not in danger. But she is. And we both know it. After a while, she lets go and gives me a small smile. It's weak, but she's trying. Go to bed, okay? Everything's gonna be fine. Okay, I say, even though I don't believe her. Everything's gonna be fine. I hear her whisper one last time from behind me. But it doesn't feel fine. It feels like something awful is waiting in the shadows, just out of sight, waiting to pounce. I force myself to leave, my heart pounding in my chest, and walk down the hall to my room. I crawl under the covers, but I don't feel safe. My bed feels cold, the darkness too thick around me. I stare at the ceiling, waiting, listening. I keep expecting something, anything to happen. A noise, a shadow, something from the dark outside, but nothing comes. I'm lying in bed, thinking about what Charlie said earlier. His voice keeps replaying in my head. I heard you're the reason she cries so much. Is that true? It wasn't true, though. At least I didn't think it was. I didn't make Mom cry. I've never gotten in trouble. I've never broken a rule. But Jamie broke a rule. I roll over, staring at the faded glow-in-the-dark stars on my ceiling, trying to push the thought away, but it sticks, like a splinter under my skin. I scoff. And why Rule 4 of all the rules? Everybody knows not to go outside by yourself after dark. It puts a target on your back. Everyone knows that. Jamie knows that. She's a big kid. Even if she's a gross girl, she's supposed to be smarter than that. Is it a joke? A really bad prank that I'm not old enough to understand? Maybe I should tell someone. Maybe I should have said something to Mom and Dad at dinner and pointed out how weird Jamie was acting. They could have done something, right? Maybe I should have marched right into Mom and Dad's room instead of listening to Jamie and going on my own. But I'm not a tattleteller. Despite that, deep down, I know. I should have told someone. Maybe they'll just scold her really badly. It's not the end of the world, right? She'll just have to go to town hall and promise she'll never do it again. Maybe she'll have to write a letter and everything, explain that what she did was wrong and how sorry she is, and everything will go back to normal. Yeah, that's probably it. Eventually, I drift off to sleep, though it's the kind of sleep where you're half aware like you're waiting for something bad to happen. Maybe Jamie's right. Maybe nothing will happen and Charlie is nothing but a big bully. Maybe we'll wake up tomorrow and everything will be fine. I woke up screaming. At first it's distant, a sound that's blending into whatever half-dream I'm having. When I get a little more brain power, I'm sure that it's coming from outside. It's not unusual to wake up to screams in this town. They're always far off in the distance, something you hear and try not to think too hard about. But this time, it's different. This time, the screams are coming from inside the house. The scream is high-pitched, raw like it hurts, and filled with something I can't describe. It's Mom. She's crying too, her voice cracking as it breaks the silence of the house. For a moment, I think I'm still dreaming. Until I hear Mom wail, "No, no, no, oh God, no." I jolt upright in bed, my heart hammering in my chest. My body moves on instinct, my legs swinging out from under the covers, my feet hitting the cold floor. I stumble out of my room, still groggy, the sound of Mom's wailing pulling me sprinting down the hallway on wobbly legs. I'm reminded of the time I almost got swept away by a whirlpool in the lake, powerless to change directions no matter how hard I doggy paddled. Dad's voice comes next, panicked. Oh God, what do we... He sounds, I don't know how he sounds. Scared? I've never heard him sound like that. I round the corner and that's when I see it. Mom's in the doorway of Jamie's room, collapsed on the floor, her face buried in her hands, her entire body shaking with sobs. Dad is standing over her, his face pale, his hands shaking as he fumbles with his phone, muttering to himself. "Mom?" I call out, my voice hoarse and small, so small I almost don't hear myself. She doesn't respond. Then I hear Dad shout my name. "Robbie, don't..." But I'm already moving. I'm about to step right over Mom into Jamie's room when Dad grabs me before I can look. His arms come around me tight, and he pulls me back, facing me away so I can't see inside. "No, no, no," he says, his voice tight. I try to push past him to see inside Jamie's room, to see what happened. He lifts me off the ground, holding me against his chest, my face pressed into his shoulder. "No, Robbie," he says, his voice thick with panic. "Don't look, don't..." His voice cracks. "Please don't look." I struggle against him, desperate to see Jamie, but he won't let me go. His grip is too tight, his breathing too fast. I can hear his heart hammering in his chest almost as loud as mine. "I need to call someone," he's muttering, his voice frantic. Who do I call? God, what do I do? I'm too scared to cry. Dad's holding me so tight I can barely breathe, and all I can hear is Mom sobbing and Dad muttering, "Oh God, oh God." I'm trembling now, my body stiff in his arms, my heart pounding so loud in my ears that I can't think straight. I hear something dripping faintly, but I'm sure I imagined it. I must have, because Mom's sobbing is the only thing I should be hearing. It's sad. It hurts to listen to. The kind of sound you never want to hear from your own mother. Dad's grip tightens as he rocks me back and forth, like I'm a baby again, like he's trying to soothe me, but I can feel him shaking too. "It's okay," he whispers, though his voice is strained and full of lies. "It's okay, don't look, don't look." "Daddy?" I whisper. I don't even sound like myself. Whose voice is that quiet, that shaky? "Is Jamie?" He doesn't answer, and he doesn't have to once the smell hits me, something sharp and metallic. It makes my stomach twist, and I press my face harder against Dad's neck, squeezing my eyes shut. If it's this strong out here in the hall, then I can't imagine. There's a faint buzzing, a ringing in my ears that drowns out everything else. I can't think. I try not to breathe. And then... knock, knock, knock. It comes from the front door, slow and deliberate. Dad's body stiffens. I feel him freeze, his breath catching in his throat. He doesn't move. Neither does Mom. She just keeps crying. The knocks come again. Dad swallows hard, his hand still on the back of my head, and takes me with him. I think it's as much for him as it is for me. The sound of her sadness gets further and further away as we leave her behind. I don't have to look at her as Dad takes me downstairs. I'm thankful. We come to a stop. Dad kisses my forehead, the same way Jamie did last night, and whispers, "Stay here." He sets me down on the couch and walks off. I stayed where he left me, hunched over, my body cold. Mom is still on the floor, still crying. I can hear her above me through the ceiling. Her sobs are quieter now, but no less painful. I hear Dad's footsteps in the hallway behind me, then the sound of the front door creaking open. Silence. Then, quietly, Dad's voice. I'll take care of it. I don't know who he's talking to. I don't want to know. The house is quiet now, except for the low murmurs of voices from the stairway. I'm sitting on the couch where Dad left me, my hands still shaking, even though it's been hours since everything happened. I haven't said a word. Neither has Mom. She's still in her room, crying. I can hear her sometimes, but I don't go near her door. I don't want to. Dad called someone. I don't know who. They came and went, but no one told me anything. Not that they need to. I know Jamie's gone. I'm not allowed to go to my room right now. No one said it, but that's another thing they don't need to do. I think about what Charlie said yesterday. "I heard you're the reason she cries so much. Is that true?" Number. It's not true. It's Jamie. It's Jamie's fault. She broke the rule, but I could have told someone. I could have done something. I hear one of the cleaner guys talking quietly. They probably think I can't hear them, but the house is too quiet now for me to miss it. Had to scrape her off the walls, he says, his voice hushed. I've never seen anything like it. There's a pause, then the other voice says, and it sounds like the sheriff? Well, that's what happens when you break the rules. I'm always amazed by the stories shared on Reddit. It's a reminder that we're all connected, even in the darkest of times. Thanks for being a part of this community. Your support means the world. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Stay safe, everyone.